This is a tactical article just in marketing wool. Read it not just as a how-to, but as a reminder. Your CRM isn't a tool, it's your co-craftsman.
Welcome to the Innovation Forge.
In today's episode, we visit the Forge Bellows. Let's see how innovation meets artistry as we forge something extraordinary together.
You are listening to the Innovation Forge, the #1 podcast on adaptive enrollment management, exploring the data, marketing, and strategy that fuels higher education. Here's your host, David Dysart.
Tools down, minds up. The Forge Bellows is shaping enrollment factors today. This isn't just another newsletter. This is your admissions anvil, your data crucible, your CRM heat map, hand-forged, taken straight from the fire of enrollment strategy, student success, and the Smiths who dare to build smarter systems and Slate, spreadsheets, and beyond. In the Innovation Forge, we don't guess. We listen for the ping. We test the grain and strike with purpose. And if Batch 1 was about the rise of predictive analytics, Batch 2 is about the raw material, the student voice. This month, we're tempering our assumptions with hard-earned insights from more than 35,000 students across 5 standout surveys. From the blowback against burdensome processes to the quiet power of sunshine, swag, and storytelling, the message is clear. We're not just shaping messages, we're shaping the moments themselves. And let's be honest, a forge that doesn't adapt warps the work. So fire up your CRM, sharpen your empathy, and take a breath before your next campaign. Because the students have spoken, and they've handed us the blueprints. Let's fire it up and see how enrollment takes shape today. Article 2024 niche enrollment survey. Publisher niche. If you're still trying to predict enrollment behaviors with last year's gut feeling, put down the hammer and read this report first. The 2024 enrollment survey is a roaring furnace of real student input. 15,764 voices to be exact. And the findings are equal parts expected, sobering, and strategic. Let's start where the metal warps. The barriers. 80% of students, enrolling students that is, said they face significant challenges with enrollment, and over half abandoned applications altogether due to excessive fees, document overload, or just sheer complexity. For underrepresented and first-generation students, the numbers were worse. This isn't just a missed opportunity. It's a forge running cold. If your CRM workflow has more gates than guidance, you're driving off your most mission-critical students. Confidence is shifting too. Students feel more academically and socially prepared, but confidence in affording college dropped. This is especially true for low-income students at public four-year institutions. This is the part of the forge where financial aid meets friction, and it's glowing red. The report also reveals an evolved student decision matrix. Brand still matters. 54% said name recognition was important, but safety at 86%, diversity and campus vibe are playing bigger roles than ever. In fact, 83% of students said they're enrolling at the college with the best visit experience. That means your visit flow is no longer just hospitality, it's an actual yield strategy. And yes, direct admissions is making moves. Students offered admission without applying were 57% more likely to enroll. Why? Because removing wait time, offering clear scholarships up front, and eliminating guesswork makes it easy to say yes. When you make it easier to forge a bond, more students step into the fire. Finally, the section on marketing is a flame check for comms teams. Emails and letters still work, swag still charms, but over half the students said text messages didn't help their decision. Chatbots? Irrelevant for most. Real people, authentic stories, and intentional frequency went out. And 59% of students were cool with weekly emails, so stop apologizing for sending them. The final take, if your enrollment strategy isn't being shaped by student voices, you're not forging, you're guessing. The 2024 survey is the mold. It's the framework of what students actually need, what they fear, and what they value. And it reminds us, you can have the best tools, the slickest Slate instance, and the flashiest campaign, But if your fire isn't student-centered, your Forge won't hold. More metal. What really draws students to your institution? Article. Why students pick the schools they do. Publisher. EAB. In the blacksmith's world, two identical-looking blades can perform very differently. One warps in fire, one holds an edge. The difference? Not always the alloy, but the intention in the forge. That's the spirit behind EAB's latest Student Insight Report, which surveyed 20,000 plus high school seniors and revealed some nuanced truths in what actually attracts students to a college. It's not just prestige and price tags. Students are weighing a much more human balance. The emotion, the environment, and the experience. So, let's get straight to the bellows. Top ranked factor? The number of majors and academic programs offered. I mean, that makes sense. More programs means more optionality, but it also reflects a broader mindset. Students want flexibility in their future. They want room to pivot. Close behind? Student life and extracurriculars. Students aren't just looking for classes, they're seeking community. Then comes campus safety and, wait for it, weather. That's right. Students consistently rank good weather as a meaningful factor in their decision making. It may sound superficial, but it speaks to comfort, well-being, and the emotional calculus baked into enrollment decisions. Slate dashboards don't track sunlight hours, but maybe they should. Also notable is how affordability ranked. It was important, absolutely, but not the top factor on this list. That tells us that financial considerations are, of course, necessary, but it's not sufficient. You can't buy fit. You have to forge it. The real forge fire of this report, though, lies in its takeaways. The most successful institutions are not just offering options, they're offering clarity. Students want to see how their interests and identities align with your programs, your people, and even the place. The schools that communicate that alignment, visually, narratively, and operationally, win hearts, deposits. There's also a clear opportunity for CRM-driven personalization here. If students care this much about academic breadth and campus life, then tailor your campaigns accordingly. Promote your niche programs. Show off your clubs. Feature weather in your view book if you've got it. Final take, this report isn't just about the top 10 enrollment drivers. It's a reminder that institutional appeal isn't forged from rankings and discount alone. It's built through emotional resonance, programmatic clarity, and an environment that students can see themselves in. Your job is to make the visible and actionable at every touch point. Strike while the choice is hot. What students really want. Title, Students' Top Factors in College Choice and Admissions, 2023. Publisher, Best Colleges. In the Innovation Forge, we listen for the ping, the clean ring of metal that says, now. Now is the moment to strike. That's what this 2023 Best Colleges survey captures. A resonant, unmistakable signal from the students themselves about what actually shapes their decisions. And the verdict? Practicality is the new prestige. Let's start with what matters most, academic fit and cost. These aren't new concerns, but the emphasis is sharper. Nearly 70% of students said that affordability of tuition and the availability of scholarship or aid were the top factors in where they applied and enrolled. This isn't about sticker price shaming, it's about perceived value. Students are looking at ROI with the eye of a seasoned investor even. If I'm going to forge 4 years of my life into this place, what will I walk away with? Also high on the list, mental health services and academic support. This is a big shift. Students aren't just scanning for glossy brochures and quad photos anymore. They're looking for safety nets, for real scaffolding. If your admission site isn't highlighting student services along with your latest faculty awards, you're missing what this generation is prioritizing. And here's the zinger. College rankings and prestige were far less important than emotional connection and logistical clarity. What mattered more was whether the college felt right, whether the visit made sense, and whether students could see themselves thriving here. Emotional resonance beat institutional ego, hands down. And this is where CRM strategy and personalization comes in. Institutions need to stop sending, "Here's everything we offer," and start saying, "Here's what we offer that fits you." Your slate campaigns need empathy baked in, not just automation. Another important notch, 40% of students said that the admissions process itself played a big role in their choice. Not the outcome, the process. Long forms, confusing instructions, lack of transparency, all of it adds friction. And when every school looks relatively similar, students go with the one that didn't treat them like a bureaucratic burden. And that's your Forge fire right there. The admissions experience isn't just a functional step in enrollment. It's an emotional one. Every click, every delay, every vague deadline, it all shapes perception. The final take, this survey isn't just a list of preferences, it's a mirror. And for institutions brave enough to look, it's a call to retool how we connect, how we communicate, and how we craft the college choice journey. Prestige may have been the old alloy, but the new blade is forged from fit, care, and clarity. The algorithm is in the Forge, how students really search. Article, survey results, how students research college options. Publisher, OHO Interactive. If your enrollment strategy still hinges on glossy PDFs and earnest email chip campaigns, OHO's 2024 student survey should rattle your tongs, because the Forge is getting algorithmic, and the students are stoking the fire themselves. This report, built on 530 students between 17 and 24, tells us something every slate write and admissions artisan needs to hear. Students are forging their own paths, and they're using tools we didn't design. The headline, social media is now cited just as often as institutional websites as a decision driver. That's not just a marketing shift, it's a trust shift. Students are learning to spot the lacquered, sanitized versions of your campus life, and they'd rather hear from Lily in the dorm stairwell at 9:30 p.m. about why she chose psych over bio. Authenticity is the ore they're mining. If your website reads like a billboard, they'll scroll past it. What builds belief is unfiltered storytelling, student testimonials, day-in-the-life content, and mobile-first videos that show campus, not just sell it. And then there's the AI factor. 32% of students used AI tools like ChatGPT to compare schools, up from 17% just a year before. And that's not just a footnote. That's a tectonic shift in information gathering. When half of them say they're using AI tools to weigh schools, programs, and affordability, the role of your messaging changes. You're no longer the first impression. You're the data source being interpreted. Prospective students are treating ChatGPT like a comparative engine. Tuition versus tuition. Major versus major. Your structured data, your tuition pages, your aid policies. They have to hold up when rephrased by a bot in the context of a prompt like, "Is this school worth it?" Meanwhile, the call for short-form video continues its march. Students want to see and feel a place before they visit it. A walkthrough of the science building might mean more to a perspective than your entire view book. Especially if it's shot on a phone by a student who lives in the building and actually talks like them. Final take, the future student journey is no longer built exclusively by institutions. It's built collaboratively with algorithms, student creators, and AI decision aids all hammering at once. Your role isn't to control the narrative. It's to show up honestly in the new channels and trust that your authenticity will withstand the heat. This isn't an arms race for flashier content. It's a return to craftsmanship. Make your information clear, make your videos real, and above all, let your students help shape the story. The Forge path isn't linear. Neither is the enrollment journey. Article, The Prospective Student Journey, Reaching Traditional College Students. Publisher, Advanced Education. In the smithy of adaptive enrollment management, timing and touch points are everything. Advanced Education's white paper, The Prospective Student Journey, offers a practical, segmented guide to building relationships with students from their freshman year sparks of curiosity to the summer before matriculation. Think of this less like a pipeline and more like a bellows-powered forge. You're not just pushing leads along, you're shaping intention. The white paper lays out 4 critical stages: capturing inquiries, converting to applicants, admissions and acceptance, and finally enrollment. But what makes it sing isn't the linear breakdown. It's the narrative attention given to the emotional terrain students and families navigate. In short, this isn't just about CRM triggers. It's about crafting warmth, clarity, and momentum. Take the early stage insights. Over half of students begin their search freshman or even sophomore year, and yet many schools don't fire up their marketing hammers until junior spring. That's like ignoring the billet until it's already half cooled. The advice to weave storytelling, SEO, optimized content, and early parent outreach into your strategy isn't revolutionary, but the execution examples are refreshing. Then there's the conversion stage. With only about 10% of inquiries becoming enrolled students, the attrition rate is staggering. The white paper urges institutions to secret shop their inquiry process. How's that for a Forge tactic? Before you invest in bigger hammers, just sharpen your edge. Reduce friction, respond faster, offer one-on-one guidance. Not everything needs an anvil. Some steps need a polish. The yield phase is where the guide glows brightest. Stress is high, attention is scattered, and students are making one of the biggest decisions of their lives. Messaging here needs to switch from marketing to mentorship. Schools that center reassurance, clarity, and connection in this stage won't just yield better numbers. They'll yield trust. The cheat sheets and content strategy grids are tactical gold, especially for teams needing structure and inspiration. Throughout the piece, you'll find strong advocacy for segmenting parent and student communications. Finally, no more one-size-fits-all. And while it flirts with vendor framing, the insights are grounded enough to use whether you're an elite private or regional public. Final take. This white paper is a Forge manual. It doesn't glam up the process. It shows you the suit, the sparks, and the strain. But more importantly, it reminds us that crafting an enrollment strategy isn't about mass production. It's about resonance. Real communication, refined over time, struck with intention. If you're trying to shape a recruitment funnel that feels more like a Forge than a form letter, this is worth a read, and even a reread. The alloy is evolving. Gone are the days when prestige and rankings did all the heavy lifting. Today's students are weighing safety, identity, simplicity, value, and vibe. They're forming opinions with swipes, refining decision with AI, and ghosting you faster than a misfired email drip. But that doesn't mean we've lost the fire. It means we need better tools, cleaner process, bolder empathy, clearer resonance. So here's your final take from the Bellows. Forge less noise and more clarity. Less friction, more intention. And above all, let the student voice be the heat that shapes your strategy. Until the next batch, remember to strike true.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please grow the guild by rating and reviewing the Innovation Forge podcast or sharing it with a colleague who needs to hear about these creative crossovers in education. The best review or comment every month will get an ebook of my book, of course. Particularly great ones will also be featured on future episodes. Thank you so much for joining me in the workshop today. Remember to strike true, and let's forge something extraordinary together.
Hi y'all, I've been working on my Fieldsmith's Register of Systems for the last couple hours. Figured I'd hop on, do another audio diary for it. I've been reviewing what should be just a basic behavioral sequence. I mean, if you know the podcast, you know the kind of work I do. Just login timestamps, password resets, routine stuff. But something twisted in the way the data branches. It's not random, it's recursive, circular. Like the activity is responding before the stimulus. I've stared at the portal logs long enough to see them flicker. I mean, not metaphorically, literally, they flicker. Earlier tonight, I followed a ping trail from a test record I created weeks ago. I shouldn't even be able to trace the ID anymore. I deleted it. But it logged in. Not from here, from somewhere beneath the system, like a ghost crawling through its own forms. I dreamt of it again. The lattice, the obsidian lattice, endless branches lit by pulsing nodes, each one humming with status updates that haven't been published yet. I reached to click one. My mouse wouldn't move. My hands weren't hands anymore. They were drop-downs. The offer letters were hanging from tendrils like cocoons. I saw names, thousands of names, my name, multiple versions of it. Inquiries I never submitted, outcomes I never chose, a round labeled final, round C, real one. I tried to exit the system. I tried to log out, but there is no log out, though. Only another round. Slate. It's the form weaver of endless branches. The form weaver sees all.